YouTube Frogs Angels is back with some more NFL content. I've been ranking players in the NFL. I've been giving my best player on each team, offensively, defensively. Now we're on to the breakout players, but we have had plenty of content up there, so if you haven't seen any of that, please check it out. We got you covered here at Frogs Angels. But AFC breakout players to look out for 2018. I got an AFC video of all the AFC teams, and then the NFC video is separate with all the NFC teams. We got plenty more to come. Follow our Twitter, Frogs_Angels. Link in the description. We'll be doing polls on there. We'll be including your guys' votes in upcoming videos for top 10 rankings. Who's the best player in the NFL at each position. So be on the lookout for that. Keep you posted. But let's get into this. I mean, in both of these videos, I have a lot of rookies from last year. So second-year players, I should say. Maybe that I was high on. I expect to do more. And that's what really breakout players are all about. Guys are going to get a huge jump in production. Second-year guys seem to be the candidates for that, and that's pretty much the case here. Let's start with no particular order here. We'll start with the Bengals. Why not? I got William Jackson, the third corner, rookie a few years ago. Last year, actually, out of Houston, got hurt. So really, he was a rookie. I should say 2 years ago. So really, he was a rookie last year and had an outstanding rookie season. Not talked about enough. So I expect him to take that next jump. I mean, he's already showed us he can play, but I expected him to take the next jump and maybe one day in the near future be known as one of the top corners in football. I'm that high on William Jackson. On to the Bills. Shaq Lawson, pretty obvious one here. The former Clemson pass rusher. Really hasn't lived up to the hype yet, but everyone was high on him. This guy can play. There's no doubt about it. He's going to reach that hype. I think this is his year where he really stands out, really gets some production. So definitely a player, not just for the Bills, but definitely a player around the league to watch out for. The former Clemson pass rusher, one of the best in his class that season. On to the Broncos. Rookie from last year that I was very, very high on, Carlos Henderson, the wide receiver, came out of Louisiana Tech. Just an all-purpose machine, really did everything. Was almost like a running back with the ball in his hands, very fast, very athletic, could run routes, really could do it all. I was very, very high on him last year. I would have been fine with him going late first. So the Broncos, I thought, end up getting a steal on him. Didn't play, unfortunate injury. They did draft a few receivers this year, so it's going to be interesting. You got a battle in there, so will he get the opportunity? I think he will somehow. He can return at a high level. I mean, he can do everything. He can play in slot, can play outside. So I'm very high on Carlos Henderson. I hope he gets the opportunity because he's a fun one to watch and one I'm really looking forward to watching. The Browns could have went with the obvious one here, Myles Garrett, but he was the number one pick. We know he can play. Too obvious. I went with Jabril Peppers. He's got a lot of doubters, a lot of haters. Maybe I was one of them for year one. I didn't think he was anywhere near ready to play the safety position, but he's a hell of an athlete, and I know he has the potential in him. So does he take that step up in year two? I think he's definitely going to take a step up. Just how much? You could go Josh Gordon here, but he's already had breakout seasons. But, I mean, he's back. He's supposed to be playing, so we'll see. Went with Jabril Peppers here for the Browns. On to the Chargers. Pretty obvious one here. Mike Williams, the wide receiver from Clemson last year. Didn't really do much of anything. Did have some injuries. But I was very high on Mike Williams. Just a dominant, beastly receiver. I guess speed is a concern. But I'm not really too concerned. I think he'll get it going. And honestly, if he gets the opportunity, can be, I'm not going to say elite, but can be a top receiver in the NFL pretty much right now or a year or two. I was that high on Mike Williams. So I expect a huge step up. Definitely a guy I'm looking forward to watching this year. We have a few rookie, or I should say second-year receivers on this list. Already two of them. On to the Chiefs. Reggie Ragland, former Alabama linebacker, hasn't really lived up to the hype yet. The Chiefs need help at inside linebacker, so he's going to get the opportunity to play. We know he has it in him, a former top pick in the draft, and coming from Alabama, you got a lot of potential. You'll have a lot of hype to live up to. He's going to get an opportunity, so that's why I put him up here for the Chiefs. Could go Sammy Watkins, another guy that really hasn't lived up to the hype yet. Should work very well in that Chiefs offense, but we know he can play. He's kind of already broke out, but maybe just hasn't broke out enough to where we thought he would be at. On to the Colts. It's Quincy Wilson, the second-round corner from last year out of Florida. Almost said first because I did have a first-round grade on him. So Very physical corner, good at reading plays, very long, very athletic. So I was pretty high on him last year. The Colts are pretty young. They don't have a lot of players that have experience. So he might be the number one corner right away, and he's definitely going to get the opportunity. Can he play like that second round talent that people thought he was? I think he can. On to the Dolphins. The Dolphins could go with a few guys here. Charles Harris would be the obvious one, a first-round edge rusher out of Missouri from last year. You expect big things from here, athletic pass rusher, but they do have a lot of depth of position. They do have a lot of guys in front of them, so will he get the opportunity? So I went with a different one. Another rookie from last year, and on the D-line, it's Vincent Taylor. Came out of Oklahoma State. Excellent D tackle, losing to Dominican Sue. I thought was one of the steals of the draft in 2017. They got him later than where I thought he would go. He brings a lot of production from the D tackle position. Don't see that a lot. So he's going to get his opportunities. I think he's a good player, definitely a player to look out for. But again, could be Charles Harris, could be Cordrea Tankersley, but I already know he can play. Showed it last year. Dolphins got some good young players from last year's draft. On to the Jags. Went with D.D. Westbrook here, the former Oklahoma receiver out of last year's draft, 2017 draft. Obviously, a heck of a player, a heck of an athlete, can play in a slot, can play outside. Losing a couple of receivers for the Jags and him having his second year in the NFL, you expect a step up. I almost went Marquise Lee here because I already thought very highly of him, but I don't know if he really ever got the chance to live up to the hype. So I think he's going to take another big step up this year, but another guy that kind of already broke out. We know he can play. He got the contract. So I went with D.D. Westbrook here. Should be somebody on the offensive side. Bortles has to play like he did last year or better to help these guys out, though. We can't go back down to the old Blake. On to the Jets. Similar player we saw in another video. He needs the chance. I think he will get the chance. Teddy Bridgewater. I was super high on Teddy Bridgewater coming out. He's played one full season for the Vikings, led them to the playoffs. Just a very impressive quarterback just in all categories. Maybe the only thing he's lacking is elite arm strength, but he's super accurate. The throws he makes are ridiculous. He can run. He's smart. So really the only thing we're worried about, I guess, is the injury, but he seems to be good now, looking good in practice. A lot of Jets reporters, people, experts they're very excited. They're more excited about Bridgewater than Darnold, which is weird, but not surprising to me. But it's kind of weird. So if Bridgewater gets a chance, I expect him to. No doubt in my mind he will be good. He doesn't really have that many weapons. They didn't really supply him with the weapons in New York, but I think he was kind of used to that. When the Vikings made the playoffs, they didn't have Thielen. I mean, they did, but he wasn't Thielen then. He didn't really have that many weapons. He looked random. Receivers looked good. So no doubt in my mind Teddy Bridgewater can play. On to the Patriots. Another former Viking, actually. Cordero Patterson. The perfect spot for him to go to the Patriots. I still think this guy, people kind of bash him as a first-round prospect because he went late first. I think he's worth it. When he has the ball in his hands, he may be one of the most dangerous athletic people in the NFL. I think he's the best kick returner in the NFL. Kick returner isn't the most important position anymore because the changes in the NFL, but the Patriots will use this guy right. When the ball, I know he's not the greatest route runner, but when the ball is in his hands, he is very, very dangerous. The Patriots will use him right. He will take a big step up in production. On to the Raiders. It's Obi Melifonwu, safety from last year out of UConn. Freak athlete. Did have some injuries last year, but we did expect him anyways to need some time to be coached and develop. And so now in the second year, we expect a big step up. Will the two safeties be Carl Joseph and Obi Melifonwu? Maybe they're similar styles. Maybe one will play in the box. There's talk about Melifonwu possibly in corner. We will see, but he's going to get the opportunity, and he's a freak athlete. In his second year, he should step up. On to the Ravens. Willie Henry, really maybe one of my favorite guys in this list because he was quietly giving us good production, showing us that he can bring good production, and he wasn't getting as many snaps as he could. So I think he can get way more snaps this year, possibly start. And he's a heck of a player. Out of Michigan a few years ago. Very impressive player. He'll take a big step up. Steelers, it's got to be Bud Dupree. Hasn't really lived up to the hype yet. Former first-round pick, but very athletic player. We expect more out of him, and I think slowly he's giving us more. It's just step by step. So I think this year, he really steps up, maybe lives up to the hype finally. They really need him to do it. So I think, he didn't have a bad year last year. It was pretty solid. Another step up. So maybe he takes another step up this year. And then the Steelers get what they wanted out of Bud Dupree. On to the Texans. I went with Zach Cunningham. Great rookie season out of the Vanderbilt linebacker, but you want to see him step up more. He doesn't really have to. He played a really good season, but, for a second-year player, you expect him to, and that linebacker unit is very good, so learning from them, learning from that coaching staff, I think he can take another step up, and that could be very, very impressive because he had a good rookie season. Could be Deontay Foreman, too, the running back, but late in the season had an injury, unfortunate, but we expect him back on the field, so it could be him too. Maybe they're starting to go away from Lamar Miller, and maybe it's Foreman's time, so we'll see. But I went with Zach Cunningham. And then on to the Titans, the last one on the AFC breakout players list is pretty obvious. Corey Davis, another rookie wide receiver from last year. Didn't do a whole lot, but he's a freak athlete, really can do anything you ask a receiver to do. We've seen flashes. We've seen the one-handed catch in the playoffs. Played pretty darn well against the Patriots. So we've seen flashes. You need to see more of it. Some thought the Titans needed a receiver, maybe in the offseason, maybe in the draft. They did not pick one up. And why? It's because they're super high, and not just Davis, but other guys too. But mainly because they're super high on Davis. And some of these teams can see right away, if in practice, if the player isn't really working out yet, if he isn't ready yet, so they decide to draft another receiver or pick up another receiver. They didn't do so because they know what they're going to get. They know he's going to take another step up. I think the changes on the coaching staff, I should say, will help him a lot too. It's going to help Mariota, so it's going to help Davis. So I expect big things from him, and we've seen the flashes. We know he can do it. So that'll do it for the breakout players in the AFC. Stay tuned for the NFC video. Follow our Twitter, frogs_angels, link in the description. And we will have polls on there for who you think the best player is at each position, stuff like that. So we want to involve your guys' take in our videos when we finally do our top 10 players at each position. Should be coming this upcoming week at some point. We'll get into that. A lot of fun stuff, a lot of NFL coverage. Thanks for everyone's support. Our goal is 10K subscribers. Please help us get there. That'd be much appreciated. So if you haven't clicked that subscribe button yet, please do so. That'll do it for this one. Goodbye.